So, for my multicultural inquiry project, I focused on food deserts and the impact on academic achievement. I chose to focus in on Memphis, Tennessee, or better known as Shelby County. The reason I chose Memphis was because it is considered one of the hungriest cities in America. With a quick look at the report card, they have a 23.8% achievement rate in math and a 21.2% achievement rate in ELA. To compare this to Greenville County, we have a 54.7 achievement rate in ALA and a 54.4 achievement rate in math. This was an automatic flag to me in my research, showing that there could be a connection here between such low achievement and being one of the hungriest cities in America. I had some previous knowledge to what a food desert was due to my sustainability class at Furman, but the academically correct definition is a community that doesn't have sufficient access to fresh, healthy, and affordable foods, typically provided by a supermarket or grocery store. For a community to be classified as a food desert, they must not have a supermarket or grocery store within 1 mile for urban communities and 10 miles for rural communities. One of the articles I read actually found that that about 10% of the U.S. population is living in food deserts. This shows a very large portion of this country that is prohibited from access to healthy and high quality foods. Another problem with the food deserts is that once found in one study was a positive relationship between the nearness of fast food restaurants to a child's school and both soda consumption and obesity. This shows that the abundance of unhealthy options tends to outweigh the healthier options, even if they are given a healthier option. These food desert areas tend to be the ones of lower income, which is a big implication for the way that children can be affected. There are three parts to why those in low-income neighborhoods are undernourished. Many people are uneducated about nutrition and make poor food choices even when they don't have to. This means that they don't know what are healthy options and what are not. People know what the healthier options are, but can't afford to buy the healthy foods. This is the problem with being in the low-income neighborhoods and also living in the food deserts, as those healthy options are too expensive. Also, food choices are more of a function of custom, habit, tradition, culture than they are the result of nutrition, information, or economic constraints. So living in the South, we would make very different food choice options rather than people who are living in the North. One thing I found very interesting was that in 2013, a family of four that was right on the poverty line would end up spending 9.5% more to their annual cost to eat a healthier diet. This is based on the average of a healthier diet costing $1.50 more per person per day. This alone makes it more difficult for people to have a healthier diet. While the crux of the problem could be food deserts, there are a lot more other extenuating problems that affect just as much. I was able to find an article that did compare food deserts and fourth grade academic achievement in New York. And they were able to find that those with just low access to healthier food options were not significantly affected in academic achievement. That means those who just live in a food desert are not directly negatively affected. Even though those that just live in a food desert were not directly affected, there was a significant correlation for the proportion of people that are low access to supermarkets and low income, as well as a proportion of households with low access to the supermarkets and low access to a vehicle. This shows that while food deserts don't directly negatively affect their academic achievement, it is the proponents that are included in the food desert areas that affect the well-being of the children. When going back to Memphis, I was able to find out that the amount of people that are low income without vehicle access was higher than those just without access to a supermarket. While none of this means a complete causation, there is a correlation between all of this. I decided to compare Shelby County to Williamson County as well to see the comparison of an area that has a very low amount of food deserts and is higher income compared to a area that has a very high amount of food deserts and very low income to see how the academic achievement compares. Williamson County ended up having 68.9 achievement rate, which is even higher than Greenville compared to the about 21% achievement rate that is seen in Shelby County. On these maps, as part of the USDA Atlas information on food access, the yellow boxes seen show the communities that are both low income and low access to vehicles. When looking at the map information, Williamson County had no large groups of low income / low access, including vehicle access. This shows a strong comparison between these two counties in terms of vehicle access and academic achievement. When comparing Williamson County to Shelby County, you can see just how many more clusters there are that don't have access to a vehicle. The rest of the colors show that areas without supermarkets close by. You can see through the overlay that some of these communities do come in contact with each other due to similar situations, but those without a car, it makes it much more difficult for them to get access to these supermarkets. It even makes sense when throwing Greenville into the mix, since there are a good amount of areas without vehicle access, which could be a reason for the middle of academic achievement. As you can see here, there are some clusters that don't have access to supermarkets, but there are also some clusters that don't have access to vehicles. So it is a very nice middle ground compared to the other two counties. While food deserts are not a direct implication on academic achievement, this could be one reason for lower academic achievement. The larger part of the food desert problem is the amount of access to a vehicle. Those who are low income without access to a vehicle and live in a food desert tend to be the ones where you see the lower amount of academic achievement and more problems finding healthier food. The solution is not necessarily to give every low-income family a car, as that can just cause more expenses in the long run, but to start educating at an early age about how easy it is to eat healthy with the options that you have. This would be able to begin a positive growth in academic achievement because it is already known and studied that a healthier diet can lead to higher achievement. Food deserts are a complex situation, but the answer is not just to plant a supermarket, but to begin at the beginning with the children and educating them.